Goku was born in the original in the year 737, which started the amazing journey for Dragon Ball. But what if Goku was born earlier? Now we are going to put him in the age of 461 when Demon King Piccolo was born and the battle still happened and he was sealed away. Now before this begins, how is Goku going to be able to live long enough for even Dragon Ball to even start? Well, the Daizenshuu stated that Saiyans have a lifespan comparable to the average human of around 70 to 90 years. But Toriyama seems to have retconned that, as most of the recent Super Chapter where he states that 80 is still considered young for a Saiyan. There was a 2014 interview for the episode of Bardock where a Saiyan's natural lifespan itself is longer than humans, according to Akira Toriyama himself. But since they are a warrior race, many of them die in battle before they can even reach that old age, and their lifespan is not that long, which does make sense. Which seems to be the retcon for the Daizenshuu, so I'm going to do some theoretical math. Now, by the way, this is all taken from Reddit, so don't take anything with a grain of salt, please. And this is just a what if, and I'm adding it in to make it look better. The average male peak is around 25 years of age. Now, 70 is the average age of death for humans, and 80 is considered still young for a Saiyan. Then a pureblood Saiyan who survives the battlefield can probably live into his 200s. So, that might bring us, with the math, to a lifespan of 224 years as the absolute maximum age that a Saiyan can go, probably before he looks like a bag of bones. Now, filler, this does kind of back this up with Pan being a quarter Saiyan, and she lived up to be 109 years old, and she still looked amazing for being her that age. And she was still acting normal, where most people who are that old, you know, they're not very, you know, they're extremely old, and they can't do most things, while Pan was perfectly fine. Now, this should also be thrown too, as you guys might be saying, well, that doesn't make sense, because when a Saiyan is 80 years old, they then age really fast. That could potentially be true, but we have yet to see a Saiyan reach 80 plus years old, so we don't know yet. But for this What If series, I'm going to go with that, if that is okay with you guys, okay? Is that good? Alright, good. Let's get back into the What If. So, I'm going to go this for my What If now. So, let's get right back into it, okay? So, Bardock and Gine had a son named Goku, or Kakarot. Now, during the peak of the Saiyan Empire, Kakarot was sent to Earth, where he crash landed. Now, this time, Master Roshi would find the spacecraft, and Kakarot would be the little baby sitting there, and he would pull him out, and he would call him Goku, as he doesn't know what this is and how a strange thing fall from the sky. Now, most of the events would happen with Goku still falling and hitting his head, and he will still survive. So, for 10 years, Roshi would have trained and taught Goku all he knows, and he would treat him as his own son, as Goku sees Master Roshi as a father. Now, he does consider that Goku's not human, considering the fact of his tail and the fact that he fell from a sky, and his very odd adaptability to where he can adapt in very amazing speeds. Now, he also knows because Goku turned into a great ape, and Master Roshi had to cut his tail off. Now, would Master Roshi survive? Yes, he would survive Goku because he's in his prime currently. He's not like Grandpa Gohan, who was extremely old, and he died sadly. This Master Roshi's in his prime, and I think he would figure out that the tail could be the weak point, and etc. So, he would train Goku and teach him the way of ki, manners, to eat, train, sleep, repeat, and have fun. So, he would soon create the Kame House on the little island, and I think when Goku is around 15 years of age, Roshi thinks that he is ready. And Goku is already able to match Roshi now. Now, for power levels and ages, this is probably going to be like the only time that I can really get into ages, because since the fact that, you know, ages are going to really be different, and power levels can also change, but we shall see in the later What Ifs. So, Master Roshi, when he met Goku, it was stated that he was a teenager. So, it could be from around 17, 18 to 20 years old. As he stated that he was a young man, so he's around teenager. So, now, at most, is all I'm going to say. So, add 15. So, I'm going to say that Master Roshi currently is 35. He's in like the prime age of a human. I don't think that yet he would have gotten the special herbs to make him live longer. I would say that he would probably be in his 50s or 70s or higher, is what I'm going to say, that he would probably go find the herb. Or it could be even less, as we don't officially know when he actually did get the herb. So I'm just going to say that when he got older, he probably found the herb, and then he eats it, and then that's how he gains his power to be able to survive and be immortal. But for right now, I think he's not worrying about that. So, Master Roshi would tell Goku to go find Korin, his original trainer. As yes, now during these 15 years, Goku was taught around, but when Goku was a baby, Master Roshi still carried him, and he would actually train at Korin's and still learn. So, he still trained with Korin, so all that's the exact same. So, Master Roshi would say, now it's your turn to go train with Korin. As he taught me everything I know, it's the next step for your training, as I taught you everything I know of the Turtle Hermit Way. So, Goku would train and have the water. Now, when Goku was super young, now for power levels, now by the way, this is just for power levels for Master Roshi. Master Roshi still trained with Korin, and he still drank the Ultra Divine Water, all that's the exact same. In Dragon Ball, he was 139 for power level, relaxed. And at around 180 was when he was being serious, aka blowing up the moon and being buff. So I'm going to say that was his full power. So I'm going to say that Roshi currently has a power level of 80. Which is pretty high, but I do think it is plausible because it's Master Roshi. He just drank the Ultra Divine Water, and also he has Goku training with him constantly every single day. So that does double the power, adding more training partners. So, now for Goku, who is 15, I would say his power level is around 65 currently. So that's still really good, but he's not as strong as Master Roshi. Master Roshi is stronger, and he has a lot more experience than Goku does. But Goku's getting up there, as he's adapting very quickly. So he would send Goku to Korin's tower, and he would make the amazing climb and train under Korin. And during that, he would learn new skills and abilities, and after 3 years of training, his new power level, I'm going to put it at around 100 for now. Now the final test would be he would be given the Divine Water, as Korin thinks that Goku is worthy and is pure-hearted enough to survive. Now, Goku would survive the Ultra Divine Water, and his power level would be 200. Now, we just doubled the power level, which, it's fair. So his power level is at 200 at maximum. So he would fly down as he would be riding Nimbus, and he would also meet Master Roshi, who has kept up his hard training to keep up with Goku, as he knows that Goku's amazing potential. Now, Master Roshi's power level is around 120. Now, Master Roshi in this What If is actually going to be stronger than he was in Dragon Ball. Now, credited, he did slack off a lot. So maybe Master Roshi was even stronger, but then he just slacked off for so many years. Maybe he got weaker. We know Master Roshi's prime power level from Dragon Ball. So he would go meet Master Roshi, who would be beyond happy to see his son, and he would be very shocked to see Goku's power. And I think that Goku would be surprised to see Master Roshi so powerful too, but he's not surprised as well, as Master Roshi is his father and his master. Now, this is when the fun part will come in. Master Roshi, his power level is around 120, as I stated, and he does have the ability to go into his buff state. Now, he would be happy to meet his master, who Roshi would be surprised to see Goku so grown up mainly, and the power would be next, as Goku's now taller than Master Roshi. Now, they would of course have a little one-on-one, and it would be an extremely close fight, like from Dragon Ball with Jackie Chun. But Roshi in the end has more experience than Goku alongside his buff form and to even the playing fields. Now, he would commend Goku, saying that his amazing growth and his power is amazing. Not to mention how young he is and he's able to do it. So, now, above Korin's tower, Kami stood there as he senses something soon is going to happen. As in deep space, a Saiyan space pod was sent on a mission to Earth to see if the mission to eradicate all human life has been completed. As a female would smirk in the pod, she was an elite Saiyan named right into the video. A space pod was landing on Earth as it has been 3 years, and a woman would come out and begin surveying the area. Goku would arrive, as he was a grown man now, as she would tap her scouter, seeing his power level was 80. She would scoff and say what a weak power level this is, and he would ask who she was and how did she even get here, as Goku would be confused seeing the space pod. She would explain that she is a Saiyan elite from planet Vegeta, and she has come to see if he did his job, and clearly he didn't, as there's all life flourishing all over the planet. She tells him to kill 100 people, or else she would destroy the planet herself. Of course, Goku would not allow that, as he would power up. His power level would be from 400, and she would smirk. Her power level was around 1,000, as she was suppressed. As they would begin fighting, Goku would be struggling, as the power level difference was a lot, but he does have a lot more experience in terms of martial arts, which is saving him. but her power and speed is much higher, as she would then show her full power, going to 1,500. Goku would have no choice, as he would then showcase his full power, as his power level would skyrocket to 3,000. Now, the reason why Goku has gotten this powerful is for the past 3 years he has been training to surpass his limits again. He has had the Ultra Divine Water, and he's also went to the Hyperbolic Time Chamber, which has now just been created by Kami, who is now the God of Earth, after King Piccolo. So, remember too, Goku also has been training with a Prime Kami, and a Prime Master Roshi, plus other powerful masters, and getting Zenkais, and everything else. And yes, he also had the Hyperbolic Time Chamber, so 1 day is outside is equal to 1 year in there, and he has been using it to train. Now, Roshi would arrive, and he would actually go into full power, and aka into his buff form, and his power level was 1,200. Reasoning for Roshi being so powerful is because he's been training with Goku, and this is Prime Master Roshi. He may not have as much experience as the old Roshi does from Dragon Ball Z, but he does have the power as he's in his prime physical shape. Now, this was before any of them had the special herb to have immortality. So this is a prime normal human Master Roshi who has been training with Kami and Goku constantly. So altogether, she has no chance of defeating them at all, but she would try her best. And it wasn't a full moon, and she does not know the special moon technique to be able to create a fake moon. So, Goku would say she can either surrender, or he will have to end her. And he tells her to leave the planet. But she would give up, and not having a choice anyway, and because her spaceship is broken. During the battle, the spaceship was damaged. So either way, she couldn't leave, and there's no point in trying to fight them as she knows she's going to lose. So Goku would then talk with her, and I do feel like she'd begin to warm up to him. As imagine her as a rough, rude Saiyan. Like imagine her as Caulifla was, if that makes sense, to where she's a brutish, punkish kind of, hard-gritting Saiyan, to where she's no joke, while Goku's the carefree, goofy guy that we all know and love. So Goku and I think her would warm up to one another, and she would start to tell him about the Saiyan race and tell him about his people and the origins, and Goku would be very interested because he didn't even know that he was a Saiyan. He didn't know that. So Goku would be amazed to learn about all this new stuff. So Kami does know that her ship is damaged and that she does want to go back to home, but the ship is too damaged, and back then they did not have the technology like they do now. This is 300 some years before Dragon Ball even started. So Kami actually does have a spaceship that he actually has, but it's still damaged, and it would take years and years to remake it again and to work on it to make it better. So during that time, years would happen, and she would actually train with Goku, and the two would become very close. Now, over the years, they would soon fall in love, and they would actually have a child. Now, for what if purposes, we're going to call him Gohan, just to make things easier for me, as within a few years, their son, Gohan, was now growing at a fast rate, and he was already training with his dad. I would say that Gohan is around 5 to 6 years old, so it's been about 5 to 6 years. Now, the new spaceship was done, as it was the same Namekian spaceship that Kami had, but Kami had to rework on it and refix it with the new Saiyan technology to make it even better, because the ship was old and damaged. So Goku was going to go alone. The reasoning why is because she still has her scouter, and she turned it off, the transmissions, so they don't know where she really was well, they kind of know where she was going, but so they don't hear her talking, but she's able to hear them, as she does know that they see her as a traitor, and that if they find her, they're going to kill her. So there's not really a smart idea to go. Goku's gonna go by himself, because Goku wants to see his parents, and also Goku is strong enough that he can really fight a good chunk of the Saiyans there. As remember, this is 300 years earlier. I'm gonna put that like the average Saiyan power level is, I would say, around anywhere from like 1,000 to maybe like 5,000-6,000 at like a high ball. So it's kind of the same, but it's average. They're not as strong as they were from Dragon Ball and such. So Goku would then get in the spaceship, as Goku was going to go alone. So, if anything happens to him, they have the Dragon Balls. So if anything happens, they can do that. As it will take 1 month to arrive, Goku would be training the entire time, as he always does anyway. As he would land, the Saiyans were waiting for him, as he would walk out with a smile, saying, "Yo, how y'all doing?" As they would use their Scout to sustain his power level, it shows a power level of 1000, which there wasn't really anything special. They would bring Goku to King Vegeta. No, not the one from Dragon Ball or Dragon Ball Z. It's the older generation of their family. So it's still the Vegeta family and the family generation line, but it's just a different era of him. As this one was very old looking in his royal armor, as his hair was gray and he was aged. As he explains, he was a Saiyan from Earth, and that he came here to see his people. As King Vegeta was angry about his elite Saiyan failing her mission, but he could care less for her, as Goku asked to fight the strongest Saiyan. And King Vegeta would allow this because Goku asked that he wants to see his family. Now, King Vegeta wants to see if he's really a Saiyan or not, because he doesn't even have his tail, which is, I think, of mass disrespect, because the Saiyan relied on their tail. So, but Goku said, "I will fight the strongest fighter that you have. I want to see my mother and father first," and King Vegeta would agree. As remember, this King Vegeta is a more experienced, but not as brash and vengeful and rude Saiyan King. I wanted to make this King Vegeta a little bit more different. He's a bit more mature, a serious, and a more calm and collected Vegeta. And he's old and worn, so he's still no joke. He's the strongest Saiyan, pretty much. So he would actually go visit his mother Gine and also Bardock. Now, I will say this: I think that the Saiyans here are more barbaric, kinda, instead of future. So it's more like battle. It's more like a more older kind of Saiyan race. This is 300 years. This is 3 generations early. So they're a bit more brutish, more barbaric. They're not as advanced technology. They're kind of like the old ways of Saiyans a little bit, is how I'm going to say it would be like. So they would actually show a massive battle arena, and Goku would arrive there, and he would make very quick work of the Saiyan fighters who try to fight him. Now this is just for show, as there would be hundreds of thousands of Saiyans all happily cheering and really excited watching this newcomer come out of the sky and fight them. As the King Vegeta would then silence them all, and he would say, "This is his son Goku. His Saiyan name is Kakarot, and he is from a planet called Earth, and he has come here to show his Saiyan pride and to show that he belongs with one of the Saiyan warriors." So they would also be very happy, and Goku would be very excited to fight these Saiyans. I mean, who wouldn't? As Bardock and Gine would watch. Now, Bardock is actually pretty powerful. I don't think he's as strong as he would be from Dragon Ball Z. I do think that Bardock would probably have a power level around 4,000, 5,000 maybe. So he's still a strong elite Saiyan. So he's not like a weakling like he was. So they would have the strongest Saiyans go and fight Goku, and he would make very quick work of the Saiyan fighters. Remember, this is years later that Goku has been training to prepare for him to go to the planet. He's been training with a Saiyan elite, aka his wife, and he's also been training with his son, but that's not really training for Goku. He's more like training him. And he's also been training in the hyperbolic time chamber more and more. And yes, it is very mentally hard on Goku, but Goku can take it. As remember, Goku's more, I would say he's more experienced. And he's also been training hard with Master Roshi as well. So, and also even Kami too, because Kami's still in his prime. So Goku has been training extremely hard to be able to be prepared, because she said that the Saiyans here are way stronger than Goku is, even like the average Saiyans, so that's why Goku is, needs to be prepared. And obviously with Goku's potential, this is 6 years later, I think that he would be a lot more powerful, especially if he has a goal. I think that Goku will obviously break his limits. So Goku was actually suppressing himself. He had a power level of around 8,000 suppressed. Now, King Vegeta himself would fight Goku. As he was the strongest, his power level was around 12,000. Now, Goku would use more of his power, and he would actually overpower the Saiyan King. Reasoning for it is because Goku is stronger power level, but King Vegeta, I think, could hold his own if he was in his prime. This King Vegeta is in his 80s, and they start to age very rapidly, as y'all may know. So he's a lot older, or he could even be older than 80, we don't know. But he is a lot more older, and he doesn't have the stamina that he had before, like he was in his prime. But he's still extremely powerful. So he would then show his new power, and well, not new power, and he would then create a fake moon, something that the Vegeta bloodline can only do. And the reason why I say this, even though Vegeta invented the technique, I just wanted it to be cool that, like, the royal family, they have the ability to create artificial moons from their own power and be able to use it to turn into a great ape. That would just be really cool, and like pass down to Vegeta, and Vegeta could do it. I mean, like, everybody can admit that's kind of cool. So he would actually turn into his great ape, which it was a grayish, more battle damaged great ape. Now his power level was around 120,000. Goku would use his full power, which was 32,000, but it was not enough to beat the king. So Goku knows that if he removes the tail, he can revert back to normal and Goku would win the match. But Goku was getting beat around because, I mean, the Great Ape's way more powerful, but it's not as fast as a Great Ape who would have the same power level because he is older. So that is the reasoning behind it. But he does have full control of the Great Ape form, obviously because of his age, and also Saiyans are taught to control their Great Ape form from birth. So that's the reason why. Now, but Goku has more moveset. He knows martial arts more, and he knows more key attacks that he's been learning throughout the world and learning from other masters. Now, Goku would use a brand new skill that he figured out, and he calls it the Solar Flare. As he would use it, and it would blind pretty much almost everybody. It would pretty much blind everybody, as they weren't prepared for it. As the king was blinded, Goku would have enough time to cut the tail off, and he would revert back to normal, and he would fall to one knee as Goku won the battle, but barely. Goku was very injured from that battle, so it was not one-sided. As Goku would help the Great Saiyan King up, the Saiyan King would admit his defeat, and he would tell Goku that he is a true warrior, not even relying on his Great Ape power. As everybody would cheer very excited, Goku and them would be put inside of the healing tank, which, by the way, it was state-of-the-art tech back then. That was like the new good stuff that the Arcosians have given them. So Goku got a pretty good Senkai. I would say his power level buffed from 32,000 to around 40,000. As he earned the king's respect. I also feel like the king would get a power buff too, getting beaten like that. His power level would go from around 12,000 to, I would say, around 13 to 14,000. But remember, he's not much of a fighter no more, so he doesn't, you know, he only saves fights when he truly needs it. Remember, he even says it like that's for like the younger guys to go do it. So Goku would be pretty popular, and I do feel like a lot of Saiyan females would want to date Goku, but we all know that Goku's married anyway. So. But now, the king would be walking with Goku throughout the palace, and they would sit down, as the king has high respect for Goku now, as he deems Goku as the strongest Saiyan, as he asked Goku for help. As lately, there have been these beings from the Arcosians, and they call them the Frost Demons. And they call themselves the Frieza clan, is what we're going to call them. And they have been starting to use the Saiyans as slaves, as before they were allies, trading planets for wealth and technology like they have right now with the scouters and the armor and the space pods and the technology that they have. It's from the Arcosians, who are extremely advanced. But they started using them now, and they're starting to treat them as they're just mindless monkeys and slaves. So he would actually ask Goku for help, saying that Goku might be able to maybe take on Chilled. As he would say that there is a guy who is in charge of the Frieza clan, and he is the Emperor of the Universe, and his name was Lord Chilled. Now, Lord Chilled's a part of the Frieza clan and is pretty much the leader of the universe, and he rules with an iron fist, and his power is the strongest. He defeated the king, and this was about 10 years ago, with ease, even in his great ape state. As honestly, Goku would be excited, as Goku would feel bad for the Saiyans being treated like this, but he'd be kind of excited, saying, wow, that Chilled guy must be super strong. Man, I want to fight that guy. He must be crazy. Now, he would agree to help them. If any trouble happens, they offer their best space pod, so Goku would get to Earth within a week. So, after meeting his family and everything, Goku promises to return, as Goku states that if Chilled is causing any other problems with you guys, let him know, as they would also give Goku transmitters and scouters and other thing, and they would also give him healing chamber stuff. So it's the liquid that if you put on wounds, it will heal you. And they put it in a special vase and hand it to Goku, so if Goku is training hard and he hurts himself, he can actually put this goo-like substance on his wound, and it can actually heal him. So Goku would actually thank him a lot, and he would actually leave to go back to Earth, promising them that if anything happens with Lord Chilled, or if anything's going to happen, to let him know, and he will come in and take him down if he ever causes any more problems. So the Saiyans were indebted to him, as Goku would then leave, and then Goku would go back down to Earth, and obviously his wife and son Gohan would be very happy to meet him. Goku would tell of his stories, and there would be a pretty funny jealous scene to where she starts bonking his head because he says that there's been like a bunch of female Saiyans like like rubbing up on him and stuff like that. It'd be really funny. She has adjusted to the human world more to the Earth, so she wears a bit more traditional Earth woman clothing and things like that. But she's still a Saiyan to the cells, so she's still a rough fighter. She's not like Chi-Chi, who gave up fighting and is like forcing her son to like study. I do feel like she does have the mother thing to where she still does like tell him like, hey, take care of Gohan, be safe with him. And I do feel like she probably is obviously teaching him basic knowledge and everything, because you don't want to be stupid. And but I do feel like the training, she wants Gohan to train more. She wants Gohan to be a kid, go play. If he wants to train with his father, go have fun. That's how the Saiyan family works. So she's really happy about that. So people who don't like how Chi-Chi is, this wife's not like that. So Goku would actually go to Kami, as he would actually explain everything about Lord Chilled and how powerful he is. And Kami doesn't know about Lord Chilled. He has heard about it from the Namekian book, but he doesn't really know too much about the race. They know that they are the most powerful species in the universe, and they are insanely dangerous. So Goku said there has to be something, or a teacher, or something that Kami knows about that can actually teach him. As Kami said, there is one god being that is above his level, and he looks after the entire universe, and he is a teacher. But to get there, you would have to die. And Goku's like, oh, well, I don't want to die. And Kami's like, no, you don't need to worry about that, because I can take you there. I can teleport to the other world and take you to this teacher. It is where the dead go, and it's like heaven and hell. So Goku would honestly say, okay, let's go do it. Now, they would teleport there, and Goku would see this giant red man, King Yama, and King Yama would be doing the thing, and he'll be say, wait, you're not dead, what are you doing here? Goku would explain that he's actually here to find this teacher, and his name is King Kai, and it'll be used to take down Lord Chilled, who's causing chaos. As King Yama would agree, saying that this guy has been killing people left and right, making his job chaos. So he would say that if you can make it across Snake Way, then you can do whatever you wish, but do not fall into hell, because if you fall into hell, you cannot get out. So Goku would then run across Snake Way, excited for his new adventure to take on the new threat of the universe. Our story last ended with Goku running across Snake Way to go meet his new teacher named King Kai. Now, after a while of running, he would soon make it. Now, he would make it a lot faster than he did in Dragon Ball Z because of his higher power level. Now, he would jump on the planet and he would land. As remember, he's used to 10 times gravity because he was in the hyperbolic time chamber, and he was also on planet Vegeta, so he wouldn't be as affected by it as before. He would meet Bubbles, and soon he would meet King Kai. After telling a stupid joke, he would agree to train him as a full 1 year. Now, he is much stronger now. Power level wise, Goku trained with King Kai for 70 days total. His power level from Raditz was stated to be 416, or it could be 426. We don't truly know because power levels are, kind of really weird. Let's say 416. His official power level was 8,000 after 70 days of King Kai training. That means that he got a 19 point times stronger and almost 20 times boost in power pretty much from 70 days. So add that to the fact that he trained for 1 year, that's 365 days, so the total power level, aka multiplier, that he would be getting would be well over 100 times. His power level was 32,000, and this guy would be 3.2 million after training with King Kai for a year. But I'm gonna nerf him for the what if purposes and say that gravity training did not buff him up as much as it did before, and the 70 days he spent at King Tide to learn, he actually spent the rest of the time to learn more about the other world and more abilities, and then he would obviously train a little bit, but not as hard as he trained for the first 70 days. We're nerfing Goku a little bit. So I'm gonna lowball Goku and put his power level at around 500,000. That's a bit of a difference. So a 15 times boost, which is honestly fair. It's not as much as 100 times. He also trained in Kaioken more, meaning that he could go Kaioken times 10 at maximum at this power level, and he could also use the Spirit Bomb much better because he trained in it. Now he would run back to Kami, and he would then take him to Earth where his wife, and he would tell them, and his wife would then walk up to him and tell him that the Saiyans need him, as Chilled has arrived, and he was going to attack the Saiyans soon. Now, Goku would rush in the space pod full speed, as he would arrive shortly, and he arrived a little bit late. It was in the middle of the battle as King Vegeta was badly beaten by Chilled. Now Goku would arrive and save him as he would begin his fight with Chilled, being able to actually keep up with the Frost Demon. Now, Chilled would shock him how a Saiyan is so powerful, and he would show more of his power, and they'll be going back and forth. I would say that they're kind of even in power currently, but Chilled shows that this is not his final form, and he would showcase his final form, and his power level was scary. I would say it would be around 20 million as his full power in his final form, so he's not as strong as Frieza is, but remember, this is way back in time, and the different Frost Demons depend on how long they're within ice. So I'm just going to say that Chilled is around that power level, which is pretty high ball giving it to him. Now, Goku stood little chance. He even tried using his Kaioken times 20, which it did a little damage, but it wasn't enough, as it was just a burst of Kaioken. As he thinks the Spirit Bomb could help him, but Chilled would not give him the time, as he didn't have time to charge up the attack, and most of the Saiyans are defeated, so Goku doesn't think the power would be enough. So, before Chilled could defeat Goku, Bardock and Gine would fight to protect their child, as Chilled would kill them both. As Goku was in shock, his mother and his father both dead, and it was his fault. He wasn't strong enough to save his own people. His hair would begin to flicker as lightning would hit ground near him, as the planet would be shaking. His eyes were turning from his regular black eyes to his blue Tyrese eyes. Chilled looks in surprise as Goku would scream one final time, and he would turn into the Super Saiyan of Legends. He would waste no time in staring at Chilled, and then he would appear and he would gut punch him so hard that he would spit blood out. And then he would slam him around with ease as the Saiyans watch in shock. Goku is a Super Saiyan of Legends? As Goku would scream, his power was shaking the planet itself, as Chilled stood no match, as Goku would spare no mercy against this monster, especially after killing both of his parents. Now, Chilled, in a last-ditch effort, was badly damaged. He would use all of his energy in a massive ki ball to take the planet along with everything. Goku would use a new skill that he learned, and he wants Chilled to see it. Him and Master Roshi have been practicing it together. He would put his hands together, saying the famous words, his Kamehameha. As the ball of energy formed in his hand, he would scream and shoot a massive beam of energy, hitting the ball of ki, and it was so big and powerful that it shoots right through it, hitting Chilled, killing him. As it shoots out into space, as Goku would then be upset to see his parents gone. But Goku knows that he can bring them back with the Dragon Balls. The Saiyans would surround him, and he would glare at them, carrying his parents' bodies, as they would obviously move out of his way in respect to the legendary Saiyan. As King Vegeta bows a little in respect, as this is the legendary Super Saiyan. I mean, this is the most powerful Saiyan in Legends. So obviously, even the King would have some respect for him, as Goku can easily take on all the Saiyans right now and kill them if he wishes. So, Goku says to keep the bodies safe for now, and he knows a way to bring them back. Now, he needs their space pod as he's going to around the universe to end any of Chilled's issues. So, what I mean by this is, now a lot of you guys thinking too, why would Goku want to do this? Well, Goku wants to make sure that somebody like Chilled does not ever happen again, but he's going to do this after he brings his parents back. And then he wants to kind of work with this power, as when he's in the Super Saiyan state, he has pure rage and high emotions. He can barely control himself. So why not take all that power, put it against the guy that kind of gave it to you and kind of messed your stuff up. He wants to make sure that the Saiyans are completely free, and he does not want somebody else like Chilled rising up through the ranks. So that's the reason why. So he would go to Earth, meet his wife and Gohan. They would find the Dragon Balls in a very quick time, and they would wish back his parents. Now Goku would then take the space pod and tell his wife that he will be back within a few years, probably, or even less. Now Goku would travel around the universe, and for 3 years he would destroy all of Chilled's army, leaving nothing. This does not mean that the Frost Demons are extinct, so there will one day be Frieza and King Cold, but most of like the army would be different. But that's 300 years later in the future, so you don't got to worry about that for right now. So Goku would then return home, and he would be satisfied, and he would spend time with his wife and his son Gohan, which Gohan has amazing potential here. Even though he's not half human, there's that whole thing, he is Goku's son. So I'm still going to say that Gohan still has this amazing potential, but maybe he doesn't have the emotional power boost that he has. Maybe. But I'll probably just leave Gohan as he was. So Goku would then teach Gohan and stay with his wife. Everything would be peaceful. As remember, the Tyrant of the Universe is gone. Goku is technically, well, we all know Beerus is there. He's technically the strongest fighter in the universe, so he doesn't really need anybody to mess with him. Well, Beerus obviously is the most powerful being, but we don't talk about him. He doesn't show up until about 200 some years, 40 years before Dragon Ball, so we don't need to worry about all that. So anyway, he would then be training with Gohan, as Gohan's a little bit older now, and Goku would even try to teach him Super Saiyan. But I think he would hold back on it, and he wants to wait until Gohan grows older so he can actually survive the power. So they'd be living in peace, and he'd be hanging out with Roshi, Kami, training with them, and any small threats, Goku would handle it now without a problem. As years of peace would pass, Gohan would actually be going to school to learn. Now, his mother, now remember, she is not Chi-Chi. That is a female Saiyan, thick and through, end of story. She is not going to sugarcoat her baby Gohan. If Gohan wants to train, I mean, she's not going to stop him. She's even training with Gohan. And she is a Saiyan, but she's more mother-like now. I would say she's kind of like Gine a little bit, because Gine actually used to be a fighter before she had Goku, and then she left Bardock's team, and then she became a cook. So she kind of switched back. So yes, Gine was a Saiyan fighter, but she kind of stepped back to take care of Goku. So I think the same thing would happen here. She still trains with Goku, they still fight all the time, she still does her thing, very Saiyan-like, but she just is more mother-like, so she cooks the meals and, handles Gohan in any other way that he needs to be taught a lesson or something. I don't know, just typical mother. And she wants Gohan to be smart and also be a good fighter to protect himself, and if he needs to fight somebody for peace. So she's like the perfect mom. I mean, this is what Chi-Chi needs to be like. So Goku would then just be hanging out, and he would be meditating. Now Goku was doing his training and meditating. A hooded figure appears, as Goku could sense this guy was pretty strong, as this hooded figure will pull his sword out and swing it at Goku. Now Goku would turn Super Saiyan right away, as this guy was really strong. But oddly, this figure's power exploded, as he has a golden aura too around him. As they fight, Goku would even showcase his new form that he just unlocked, his Super Saiyan 2 form. Remember, this is like about 7+ years later. This is Goku when he's actually older. Gohan, I would say that Gohan is probably around 12 years old, I would say at this point. So Goku has had 7+ years to train with King Kai, train with Kami, train Master Roshi, and also go around and master Super Saiyan form. I think that within 7 years Goku could figure out another showcase of power, because Goku even had the same idea in the Cell Saga, to where he thought there was a higher power. So Goku would burst into his Super Saiyan 2 and kick the man down, as he would get up and he would praise Goku, as he would pull the hood back, putting his sword away, and it was Trunks. Now Goku doesn't know who this Trunks guy is. He doesn't even know who he is at all. He explains to him that he needs him. And he said that my name is Trunks and I'm from a different timeline, and he would offer Goku a job to help people. Goku could sense that he has a good heart, and he accepts it, as on the way, Trunks explains everything to Goku, about timelines, about Trunks, about the different Gokus. Obviously, Goku doesn't understand about this history mumbo-jumbo stuff that he says himself. All he knows is that Trunks is a good guy, and that he's just from a different time, to where Goku knows him as an ally, and that's good enough for him. And he also knows that Trunks is helping people, so that's honestly good enough for him. He's fine. So the reason why Goku would also accept is because Trunks says that he needs Goku's help and that people are suffering because of this, and Trunks needs Goku's power. So obviously Goku would go to help him if he can help in any way, to protect people and tell somebody you can't do that. So Trunks would then explain that he is a time controller and that he protects time in other timelines as they teleport to the home of the time patrollers, shocking Goku as he would see these pink people. They're called Majins, and then he sees Saiyans, and then he sees these Earthlings, and then he sees even these green people, Namekians they call them, and he even sees Frost Demons like Chilled, as they would all working together and like living in a massive community. They arrive. Trunks states that he will be sent to deal with issues in a timeline which could have some strong fighters, which of course Goku got super excited about, and I think he'd be down to help. Now, real quick, I'm just saying that he also meets the Supreme Kai of Time. All that stuff works out, so that doesn't change, so I'm just letting everybody know. So Goku, I know it seems kind of rushy, but Goku does meet the Supreme Kai of Time, and she'll explain everything to him and all that. So Trunks would walk up to him and he would explain that he needs help with the bigger threat, and it is in his timeline. It is an ancient Saiyan from thousands of years ago. His power was not natural. It took the power of teamwork and putting their powers into one person to defeat this monster. As he is soon to be released from his prison inside planet Vegeta once again, Goku nodded as he was excited to fight the Saiyan. Now, he was excited to fight the Saiyan of the ancient times, as, yes, I said, so Supreme Kai would then show up and she would explain everything to Goku, and she would tell him about the different timelines and realities. Now, Trunks also states that in his time, Goku died of a heart virus, and he was born 300 years later, not 300 years in the past. Goku doesn't get any of that. He just wants to fight strong guys and help people. So Trunks would then look at a scroll and it would start to turn purple, as he would have a mission for Goku. Now, people have been messing with times, as that's normal. Now, Goku would arrive at this timeline and it would be an odd shadow-like creature, and Goku doesn't know what it was, but Goku would fight it and he would take care of it. Not much of a major issue. Now, he thinks that was kind of easy, and that Trunks would talk to him in his own communicator that these are called leeches, and what these guys do is they are shadow-like creatures, and they're kind of like the little like rats of time, and they break out from evil people, and they kind of like mess with time and leash off of them to get more power. So that's the reason why you have to kill them, because they're really annoying. They're kind of like a little virus. So Goku says no problem. But before Goku was about to leave holding the scroll, somebody would then call his name out, and it wasn't his name, it was his Saiyan name, and it was none other than Vegeta himself, saying, "Kakarot, it's time for our rematch." Now, Goku doesn't know this guy at all, but he knows he's a Saiyan. Now, he does look a lot like the king of planet Vegeta. Maybe this was a descendant of a different timeline or something. Now, Goku would just look at him and just say that he's like really confused, and Goku says that, "I don't know you," and then Vegeta would scoff and saying if he wants to play like that, it's fine. Now, he has been perfecting his power. As they would fight, Goku would even turn Super Saiyan, overpowering Vegeta. As Vegeta would then land, he would scoff and say that you've grown stronger, but not stronger than a god. As a purple aura would surround him, he would turn into his Hakai state. This is Vegeta from the timeline where he was born with God of Destruction Ki from one of my What If videos. Because I base off my What If videos from timelines in different realities in Dragon Ball. So, this is Vegeta with God of Destruction energy. As Goku was shocked by this power and pressure, he could not even sense it, but he could feel the pressure of the energy hitting him. Vegeta would smirk, saying that this is gonna be fun. Part 4. Now Goku got into his stance, as he's never felt power like this before. Vegeta would charge in, and he would punch Goku through the rocks, as it would shock Goku, as his power was nothing like he's ever seen before, and the energy was so off. Now, even if he was in Super Saiyan 2, he was using everything he can to even survive Vegeta. As he was damaged badly, he used the solar flare technique, as luckily he was gone as Trunks pulled him back. As he was healed by the Kai of Time, Goku did get a nice Zenkai from the fight, as he thanks him that guy was scary strong. If he would have been done for if that went on another second. As over time, Goku was helping Trunks as time was only growing stronger and stronger, as he was fighting tons of mind-controlled foes, and demonic people, and people trying to mess with time. Now, during this time, he was brought into the GT area where he was helping with Baby being powered up by demonic energy. Now, this Goku learned Super Saiyan 3. And the reason why is because after so many limit-breaking fights, I do think that our Goku would be able to tap into this power. After fighting in so many different timelines, he would have also even seen the form. Now, he was holding his own against a powered-up Baby, but it wasn't enough, as he watched his other self, Kid Goku, GT Goku, show his tail as he turned into a great ape, and it started growing golden, and then he watched Pan control him, and he was actually able to turn into a Super Saiyan 4. As time was fixed, Goku was brought back as he asked Elder Kai what that form was, and he explained it was a Super Saiyan 4, a legendary power that makes Super Saiyan 3 look like child's play. Now, Goku wants his power for himself, and I mean, his other self can do it, so why can't he do it, right? The only issue is he needs a tail to do that. So Elder Kai has an idea. As time passed, Goku during the missions found Dragon Balls and wished for his Saiyan tail to be back, and at this time, the dragon was gone, and yes, he did make the wish for his tail, and he would also do training with Elder Kai, meditating so he can control his great ape state inside of him, so he doesn't go insane if he ever tries it. So he would help them out here and there, and soon he would go home. As Goku's done more than enough for Trunks, helping him out with a lot of issues, Trunks thanks him for the help, and if he needs anything, Time Patrol will be there. As he returns to his wife and son Gohan, he would enjoy life. Of course, he would still be training, as deep inside Planet Vegeta, a prison, there was something being held. Something evil. Something that was locked away for thousands of years ago. It was Cumber, the evil Saiyan, and his eyes began to open. As soon Goku was meditating alongside his son Gohan, he did get a message from King Kai saying that he must go to Planet Vegeta at once. Something is happening. As he would take the space shuttle and he would arrive there, he would just see destruction and dead Saiyans everywhere. But then even some Saiyans were mindless, and they had this dark auras around them. As he would fight them off, a man with a mask covering his face, he was feral, almost acting. He was acting out of instinct, would charge in right at Goku. As Goku would begin fighting Cumber in base, this being was way too strong. Goku turned Super Saiyan 1 and 2, and it didn't help very much against this Saiyan. Now, Goku even tried Super Saiyan 3, but it wasn't enough, and the stamina drain was too much as well, so he stayed in Super Saiyan 2. Now, Cumber tried using his Dark Aura to take over Goku. As Goku would be screaming in pain, he was able to force the evil aura away from him, and he did use the Solar Flare technique, and he barely escaped Cumber. As he went underground, the Saiyan King helped him, as most of the Saiyans remaining were in hiding underground. And Goku used the Senzu Bean, he couldn't even damage him, saying that this Saiyan is insanely powerful. Even his Super Saiyan 3 did nothing to him. And worse, this Saiyan has the ability to take over other Saiyans' minds, making them insane. As the old king sighs, he explains that a long time ago, there was a great war between evil Saiyans and the good Saiyans. And Yamoshi was the leader, and Cumber was the rabid evil tyrant of the evil Saiyans. Now Cumber was far too powerful. Now they created a way to make a Saiyan to be the light inside of the darkness, and to overcome Cumber's evil Saiyan power. And then when all felt lost, the last 6 remaining Saiyans, 5 of them fused their power into Yamoshi, and he was covered in flames and had red hair. His power was unmatched. As he fought Cumber, their battle was so intense, it killed them both. Or so they thought. As Yamoshi won, he actually trapped Cumber inside of a prison, inside Planet Vegeta, locked away, and he used his own life force to seal him away forever. But they say that his spirit is still going, and it is looking for the next Saiyan God, but Yamoshi must choose the person. As Goku said, let them try this out, maybe it can work. As if Yamoshi can do it, I think that Goku can do it, right? And they don't really have much of a choice because Cumber just found out where they were. So Cumber, the 5 Saiyans would then surround him, and those 5 Saiyans oddly turned Super Saiyan. And the reason why is because of Super Saiyan God ritual. I mean, even Videl, who's a human, turned Super Saiyan. So I think that when Goku turns Super Saiyan, they start to glow the aura and they turn into it. So they all look at each other oddly as the blue energy was going into Goku. Goku lifts into the air and a massive beam of light hits the ground. Now, Cumber, by the way, most of the other Saiyans, warriors were fighting off Cumber. Wasn't much of a struggle, but it was able to hold him off for a few seconds. That's the reason why Cumber, who found them, did not just attack him instantly. But then Cumber would then drop a Saiyan, and he would look up into the sky, seeing clouds spinning in the air and weather's changing and like something is happening. It's a massive beam of light. Now, Cumber would then kick the Saiyan away as he was confused at what's happening, as Yamoshi appeared in front of Goku, and he puts his hand on his shoulder and he fuses into Goku. As the light clears a flaming aura, Goku stands there in Super Saiyan God. As Cumber screams, as Cumber will be screaming, Yamoshi, seeing all the red hairs, that's all he's seen, he flies in as Goku dodges his punch, and he would gut punching Cumber as he kicks him into a rock cliff, knocking it down. As he looked at his hands, his energy, it was so different. He never felt so powerful before, nor did he felt ki like this before. It felt so off, and he felt so light and so weird. So he looks at Cumber, telling him this terror is going to end. As Goku would then begin charging up, his aura was flaring, and he flies at full speed, punching Cumber full force, and he would then kick him right into the air and throwing combos at Cumber, who at this point, he did not have enough time to react to what's happening. Goku was not letting up on him. Now Goku would kick him in the air, and Cumber would try and come back down and shoot ki blasts, but then Goku would slap them away like they're nothing, and he would use a teleportation, not instant transmission, and he would teleport behind Cumber and then kick him into the air once again, and Goku would teleport and slam him back down, and he would then use his Kamehameha, and he would hit Cumber, who was into the ground, full force. As it hits the ground, making a massive crater, Goku would land as Cumber would then get out of the massive crater and get out of the rubble. His aura would be exploding red and black as he screams in anger. Now, by the way, he would also still be screaming Yamoshi, powering up as he thinks that this is Yamoshi. He was using his full strength now, as the two would begin fighting back and forth, leaving shockwaves, as Goku was on the winning end, as Cumber was damaged. Now remember, Cumber was severely damaged considering that Goku was easily overwhelming him, and he also did kind of hit him full force with the Kamehameha. But then something happens. Goku's hair begins to flicker, and he loses the power, turning base form. As Cumber knocks Goku away, he was in big trouble, as even though Cumber was damaged, Goku still had no chance though. Now he did feel a lot stronger. Now that was the reason why he was even surviving a full power angry Cumber. As Goku was able to hit him away, he must think of something, as he does have a trump card, and his only other way as he thinks he can do it, as the Saiyans agreed to fight and hold Cumber off. Remember, Cumber is weaker, so he's not as crazy powerful, but even a damaged Cumber at full power is still beyond terrifying. So Goku would form a fake moon, and he would transform into a great ape, and it would then turn golden, and he would go crazy for a little bit until Jean and Bardock calm Goku down, as Goku would then shrink and turn into something else. As Goku would then look at himself, he was able to turn himself into that Super Saiyan 4 that he's seen from a different timeline. He was super strong now, and this form wasn't as strong as the red one multiplier wise, but it was an amazing power. Let alone, he does feel a lot more powerful because it feels like the god power, there was some of it left over when it left him. So Goku somehow absorbed some of it. Very similar to what Beerus said, that even Goku now was far stronger than he was before he got Super Saiyan God. Now add on Super Saiyan 4, I will say that he could be kind of close to what Super Saiyan God Goku was. But because of the God boost and Super Saiyan 4 at the same time stacking on top of each other. So he wasn't really used to it now, you know, like it was kind of, you know, weird to him, but then he quickly adapted to it. and Cumber doesn't really have much of a chance as he was tired and weakened, but they would still have a really tough battle. Now Goku was on the winning end, as Cumber was way too damaged to continue fighting, but he would not give up. Cumber was still not giving up. It was his pride, or he was an unstoppable machine. But now Goku would have no choice, and he would then use a special technique. He would use his ×10 Kamehameha as it glows red, and he would fire the attack full force into Cumber's face, as it would actually kill Cumber. Goku would then turn base, as he was extremely damaged and tired, and he falls to his knees as the Saiyans help him. That was an insane fight. As the Saiyans were happy Goku saved them, but they were saddened by the fact that their brothers and mothers and sisters and everybody's gone. Cumber wiped out over 60% of the Saiyan race. Now Goku said it's not to worry, as he can use the Dragon Balls and wish them all back no problem. As well, he would return to Earth, as he would then wish them all back, and all the Saiyans will be brought back to life that were killed by Cumber. Now life would go back onto peace, and now we are now going to time skip to age 739. Now this is 40 years from the events for when Beerus woke up to find a Super Saiyan God, back when Frieza was going to technically blow up planet Vegeta. So Beerus would then wake up and he would go to planet Vegeta himself, as there isn't a Frieza, by the way, nor his Frost Demon family. As remember, Goku over the years has taken down the Frost Demons themselves, so they were not all evil, so Frieza and even King Cold were not even existent. And even if they were, Goku could easily stop them himself. By the time that they would have even caused any issues, Goku would have done it. Because remember, Goku is the universe's protector. I mean, he has all the time in the world now, so I mean, what else is there to do, you know? So they would go to planet Vegeta, and Beerus would then figure out that all the Saiyans there were pretty powerful. All the Elite Saiyans could even go into Super Saiyan. Some of them, aka like King Vegeta, he could even turn into a Super Saiyan 2. Now, having Goku around as a teacher for the past couple hundred years did help a lot, considering that most of the Saiyans through S cells have been passed down through multiple generations, so they are actually a lot more powerful, and on top of that they have higher S cells, meaning that a good chunk of the Saiyans can actually turn into Super Saiyans. Some of them potentially can turn into Super Saiyan 2s, but that's probably like the super elites, kind of like Vegeta and like, you know, like the strongest Saiyans there are. So Beerus would then arrive and he would notice that they're all pretty powerful. So Beerus was amazed to see a lot of Super Saiyans. As he would find King Vegeta and of course eat the food, he demands how they grew so strong so quickly, as it's only been a few years, well, to Beerus since he naps so much. Now, King Vegeta was obviously very nervous because even though they're all Super Saiyans, he doesn't even think that they could probably take Beerus on still, because Beerus is that powerful. So he does give the Saiyan credit, saying that, wow, they're probably the most powerful race in the universe since they are extremely powerful. But obviously, none of them was nothing compared to Beerus, as Beerus would even want to begin fighting a couple of them, and none of them even do anything to him. He flicks them away like they're nothing. But now, he was going to blow up their planet, as he was pretty let down. King Vegeta says no, there is a Saiyan, and he's in the legends. He's the strongest Saiyan in history. As that piqued his interest, he demands where he is, and King Vegeta would say he is on planet Earth. As he has been for a lot of years recently, Beerus would tell Whis to go, and they would arrive on Earth, and he finds Goku sitting there as he was meditating. Goku would stand up and turn to Beerus. Now, this Goku did eat the plants that Roshi ate over his adventures, meaning he can live up for over 1,000 years. This Goku was obviously older looking, and he would have gray hair, as most would too at their age, and he does have a very short beard, and he would be wearing more master-like clothes, similar to Roshi, but different color scheme. So, he would pretty much be more at peace, and he would be Earth's protector. Now, of course, he has trained students to protect Earth if he's never around, and he's just lived the old life, very much similar to Master Roshi. Now, Beerus comments on this is just an old geezer, as Goku smiled saying hello to Beerus and that he knew who he was from the help of King Kai. Of course, Beerus asks if he's the one who trained all the Saiyans on planet Vegeta. Goku would say yes he did here and there, and he consents Beerus came to fight him, as Beerus would state that if the old man doesn't give him any fun, Beerus is going to blow the planet up. As Goku got serious, he got into his stance, he was ready for Beerus, as he asked Goku to use that Super Saiyan thingy. Goku would smirk and say he will soon use it enough. As Beerus charges in, the two clash for an amazing battle to take place. What if Goku was born early part 5? As Beerus was excited, the old Saiyan rolled up his sleeves a little as he got into his battle stance, as Beerus did the same. Both was ready for battle. As Beerus would charge in, Goku would dodge all of his attacks. He was a little surprised at the sudden power. As he would dodge his attacks, he would soon throw his own right back at Beerus. But of course, Beerus would then block the attacks. As the old Saiyan would jump away, Beerus was impressed. He wasn't just some old geezer, but he wants to see the Saiyan's true power. As Goku stood there, he nods as he burst into Super Saiyan. As the two clash back and forth making shockwaves, Goku would then burst into Super Saiyan 2. He would actually land a kick on Beerus, which would honestly do nothing, but it would shock him still. Goku would then yell. As he charges his power, his hair grows out and his fur turns white as he unlocks Super Saiyan 4. To explain, I wanted to make the form match his old age, so that the white hair matches the gray fur, you know, and adds like an old Super Saiyan 4. To make the form fun, it is not Super Saiyan 5. It's just like an old Super Saiyan 4. Now, Beerus was impressed at this amazing power. He got up as Goku charges in. They would trade blows back and forth as Goku was able to punch Beerus, drawing a drop of blood. Beerus was impressed, but he senses more power swelling within the Saiyan, and he demands to see more of it, as Goku agreed to not let Beerus destroy his world. As he would turn base form, he calmed down, as he would then turn into a Super Saiyan God state, and he would charge in, attacking Beerus. The two would clash as Beerus was having the time of his life, as Whis was enjoying some sushi, but watching the old Saiyan closely. Goku makes after images as he used Solar Flare, and he used his full power Kamehameha, blasting Beerus point blank. As Beerus had his arms crossed, it did burn his arms a little, as he commended Goku saying it stung a little. As he then used his Hakai Aura as it glowed around him, he formed a massive Hakai ball, throwing it at Goku. As Goku would struggle to catch it, he screams as he uses instant transmission and throws it into Beerus, blowing them back up. As Beerus would be a little damaged, he had enough. Unless Goku had a final attack, it was over. Goku has one option. It was risky at his age, but now he has a choice, right? He would turn into Super Saiyan 4 as he would calm his chi, holding it inside. As a red aura surrounds him, Beerus had a happy smirk. He broke the limits of Super Saiyan 4. Using God Ki, as he charged in, being much more stronger than before, the two clashed, shaking the earth. As Beerus charged a Spear of Destruction, Goku would scream as it sinks into him and the planet as he fired a massive ki blast in his hand, shooting the beam back at Beerus. It's like the scene from the Cooler movie. As it flies into the sky, Beerus watches it as he turned in time to see Goku fly full speed into his face as he holds out his hand and screaming Dragon Fist as a massive yellow and red dragon hits Beerus full force. As Goku lands, turning into base form, he was sweating and panting hard, weak of his old age. As the smoke cleared, Beerus stood there. His top armor G was torn off as a damaged circle was around his chest as he was bleeding. He admits that almost got him, as Goku was shocked seeing how he survived. There should have been a hole going right through him. Now, Goku was too tired to fight, but Goku forced himself up saying he was getting started. Beerus was tired as well, and damaged as he was getting way too excited. He was going to blow up the planet just by his power alone. As they would clash, Whis would then stop it with just his finger, saying that is enough. As he healed them both, Beerus shakes Goku's hand, as he was indeed powerful and he's definitely earned Goku's respect. They nodded as Whis healed their wounds and they all go out and eat a buffet. As Beerus would ask Goku and talk to him, learning about Goku here and there, as they would get along pretty well. Whis even offers Goku a role of the God of Destruction whenever Beerus kicks the bucket. Now of course Beerus would say, "Hey," and which Goku would of course refuse, saying that's not for him. But thanks them anyway. As Beerus sleeps happy, he promises to keep the Saiyans around. That's because of Goku's efforts. As 40 years would pass, Bulma was searching for the Dragon Balls. As Goku was there to help her through her adventures, they would just get the Dragon Balls a lot easier since there is no Saiyan Saga and there is no Frieza Saga. Now, would the Cell Saga still happen? I think no, because Goku has been around Earth for so long, he did destroy the Red Ribbon Army fully, as there is no Dr. Gero to make the androids. Now, Goku, as well as during the 4 years, he would train with Whis most of the time. As he did, Whis had nothing else better to do since Beerus was sleeping the entire time. Now, Goku offered to also make him amazing food, and yes, this Goku learned how to cook. Now, Goku has a few students now, as he has had Krillin, Yamcha, Tien, and even Chi-Chi, who wants to learn from the best. Now, they would have their adventures, and Goku was more of a teacher, like Master Roshi, as during these years, I think Yamcha would sooner or later turn to baseball, and Chi-Chi would probably marry Krillin, and Bulma would probably be with Yamcha. Now, we are in the Cell Saga era, and they would have kids of their own, which Goku would train them, as he was close, as he was close to all of them anyway, his family. Now, he would train the youngins to become the next generation of fighters, all up until one day the Supreme Kai would arrive asking help from the Z Fighters. Now, yes, this is a couple years afterwards, so Goku would be busy training on the field as Supreme Kai would arrive asking them for help. Now, Goku doesn't really know what's happening, as he would ask saying what's happening. Supreme Kai would state that there is a evil wizard named Babidi who has created this being named Majin Buu. I know he did not make Majin Buu. And that he's sealed away, and that they're trying to get minions to track high power levels down to bring this monster back to life. Now, of course, Goku does know about the Supreme Kai, as remember, he has been training with Whis for nearly 40 plus years. He does, well, off and on, he does know about all the 12 universes, Zeno, the other angels, Champa. He knows about everybody. He even wants to go to the other universes himself and give it a try. Yes, this Goku is still old, as he never asked Whis to reverse his age and may make him look younger, nor did he ever even use the Dragon Balls. He just doesn't see a reason why, and he's pretty comfortable in his old body, so he doesn't really want to go back because he's worried he might lose all of his power. But of course, it'll be the other way around. He would actually be a little bit stronger. Now, I do feel like Supreme Kai would also explain the history between the other Supreme Kais who got absorbed and killed sadly. Now, Goku would offer to go help, as he would actually go alone. Now, a lot of other people are wondering too, what about Vegeta? Would Vegeta be around? Vegeta is currently on planet Vegeta, as he is the current ruler of planet Vegeta. Yes, so Vegeta is minding his own business. Now, obviously, Goku can go there if he wants to. He's more like a legend there. And would Vegeta ever go visit the legendary Saiyan? I do have a feeling yes, but I don't feel like Vegeta doesn't really feel like it. Goku's kind of like a forgotten memory. He's kind of like the Super Saiyan legend. Remember, this is 300 years. Not to mention, the last time he was even there and even had to do anything for the Saiyans was 40 years ago. So that's the reason why that no one really cares about him right now. But we'll be seeing Vegeta and Goku clash one day. Now, Goku would run off with the Supreme Kai, and they would arrive at Babidi's ship. Now, Goku does know that if the Supreme Kai dies, then Beerus dies, which is not something that Goku wants Beerus to die, as he views Beerus as a friend, and he views Whis as a really good friend, as they would get along really well. Now, Goku would go in, and he would fight Pui Pui, which Goku would easily one-shot, pretty similar to how Vegeta was handling him, and then Yakon, which was an interesting battle, but Goku has so much raw energy that it would actually kill him and make him explode. Now, if we were to go to Dabura, this is where I think it'll be a pretty interesting battle. Now, I could see the other Z fighters arriving as well. And by the way, Krillin and Tien and the others are actually very, very, very powerful because they're still training non-stop. They're still martial artists. I don't think that they would just give up that easily and just become stuff other than Yamcha. Even though Yamcha is the most powerful being in all of Dragon Ball. We already know that. So that's the reason why they nerfed him into a baseball player. Because, I mean, like, he's even taking hits from gods. But anyway, Krillin and Tien, I feel like, will start fighting Dabura as Supreme Kai needs to get to the egg before it's too late. Now, Krillin and Tien were having a lot of issues fighting, but I do feel like that they would be able to actually take on Dabura, and they would actually be able to hold their own, especially since they can also use the Kaioken technique. Yes, Goku knows Kaioken. Remember, he still knows King Kai. So I think it would be very useful, but I do feel like Dabura would still use his stone spit, and it would actually kill Krillin. Not Tien, because remember, he only can shoot one at a time. As Tien would use his solar flare to blind Dabura, Goku would come in and actually kill him. Now, Majin Buu would actually still be born, and it was Fat Buu. And Goku would watch how he easily slaps Tien and knocks him out cold, same as Supreme Kai. As Goku would begin his battle with Fat Buu, Goku obviously was not truly trying, but he was interested in this strange creature. He doesn't think that he's all bad, as he would actually try to trick Buu and try to see that he's not a bad guy. It's Babidi actually telling him what to do. So I think that Buu would sooner or later kill Babidi anyway. Remember, Goku, remember, this is not Goten and Trunks nor the fusion. Goku does not know the fusion technique. So unless Goku was in the other world for them all those years and he learned it somehow, I don't think that he would know. And he does not want the kids to fight a powerful being like Boo by themselves. It's just too dangerous, you know? And it's not his kids anyway, even though he's not the best dad, but even though he is. So he would actually beat down on Boo without much of an issue, but I do feel like he doesn't want to kill him. So would evil Boo still come out? Yes, because remember, Hercule is still there, and Hercule will still meet Boo, they become best friends, and evil Boo will appear, and then Super Boo will appear. Now, when Super Boo appears, Goku will have no choice, as he would actually let himself be absorbed, rescue Kid Boo, or Kid Boo, Fat Boo, and then Kid Boo would appear. Now that is when a massive issue is going to start, as Kid Boo would try to blow up the planet, Goku would kick the ball away, and Goku would state that this is absolutely enough, as he would use Super Saiyan God, and he would absolutely annihilate Kid Boo without much of a process thought at all, as it was just way too much power. Now, if we are going to cut Battle of Gods, Beerus would wake back up, and he would actually want to fight Goku again. And of course, Goku would agree, and he would obviously fight Beerus, and the fight would actually be even closer. Now, would this Goku know Ultra Instinct? Yes. Old Goku knows Ultra Instinct. Not mastered yet, but he does know Autonomous Ultra Instinct, just UI. And he's kind of like used it as his own power. If anybody has watched the manga, seen the manga, currently when Goku fought Gast, he used his own Ultra Instinct. You know exactly what I'm talking about. So he would actually be toe-to-toe with Beerus at full power. So Beerus definitely commends him and says that he's gotten so much stronger in this short time that he's actually a rival. And Beerus needs to start training again. So as that fight would be over, and by the way, this would probably be during Bulma's party, so that the exact same thing would happen, but this time Beerus does not have a massive tantrum and things like that. But now, would Goku go to planet Vegeta to deal with all of the other Saiyans? I do feel like he would go visit the Saiyans again, just to see how they're doing and see everything else. His father and mother, Jine and Bardock, is alive. They're just obviously older, being 40 plus years old. As, by the way, that's a joke, they're dead. It's been like 300 years, sadly. But he would actually go visit the Saiyans and see how they actually are, all seriousness. And he would go see Vegeta and, you know, show himself. They would have a battle, which of course Goku would win. Now, would the Goku Black arc happen? I don't think so either, because Goku wouldn't really... Remember, this Goku is a lot more mature, and he's a lot more at peace. So he wouldn't really want to just go fight Zamasu. Meaning that Zamasu doesn't really see how powerful the mortals are. He already had those feelings, but if he didn't see how powerful Goku was when Goku beat him, then he wouldn't have had the evil tendencies. So there's no Goku Black. And even if there was... I do feel like Goku would probably still win, because remember, he has the new generation of heroes and they're stronger. So all the stuff would happen the same. There is also no Trunks either. Yeah, there is no Trunks, sadly. Now, we could also argue that it's another person from the future. It could be Vegeta maybe is alive because it was Zamasu. We could have like a future time traveler Vegeta, and that's how he met Bulma. That would actually be really cool. But other than that, no, there's not really any other thing. And we are going to save the other arcs for the next part 6. Our What If takes off with Goku relaxing, enjoying peace, as he was training fighters across Earth and such. As one day, he would be told by King Kai that King Vegeta wants to see him, so Goku agrees, and he arrived on planet Vegeta. And now he would meet Vegeta, who heard about the legendary Super Saiyan from his father, as he wants to fight him for himself. So Goku would agree, and by the way, this is the Vegeta that we all know and love. Vegeta would turn Super Saiyan as they fought to a stalemate. Now Goku would be fighting in base form, and Vegeta would then go into Super Saiyan 2, which doesn't do too much against Goku, who was holding back. But now, Goku would finally use Super Saiyan, and he would easily overpower Vegeta. Now Vegeta would scream, saying that this is not the peak of his power, and he would showcase why he is a king, as he would use Super Saiyan 3. This surprised Goku a little about the power, and he agrees that Vegeta was a king for a reason. He was super strong. As they clash, Goku would soon defeat Vegeta, as he accepts his defeat. But he was not finished yet, as he has a champion, and his name is Broly. Now, as Paragus would arrive, he would bow to Vegeta. Broly stood there. Now, mind you, this Broly in the original, was more wild and more insane. This Broly
is the same, just kinda, he's just far more intelligent, but he's still the calm and peaceful person. So, Goku was really excited to see Broly, as he can just sense the absolute mountain of power that Broly has within him. Now, Goku was excited. Goku would lead Broly far away from cities or anywhere else, no animals, no life around. They would start clashing. Goku was holding back at first, having more power and experience, but he notices Broly is growing at a fast rate in power. Broly would scream, turning Super Saiyan as he would attack Goku, who was struggling as he used Super Saiyan 2, keeping up, as Broly kept growing in power more and more and more. Goku had to use Super Saiyan 4 mixed with God Ki to survive the beatdown. As Broly was in his legendary Super Saiyan form at full strength, he was overpowering Goku, until Goku turned into his base form. Not saying anything, as it's not over yet. He hasn't shown his real power yet, as his eyes turned silver and his hair turned into a mastered Ultra Instinct. Training for Whis for over 40 years would give Goku the chance to learn this power. I think as he would then be able to defeat Broly. Now, how would Goku be able to learn this power? Well, Goku's been training with Whis for over 40 plus years. I do think that he would be able to learn Ultra Instinct if he was able to learn it in an hour and to turn him into power, even though it was a free chance. So, he would then defeat Broly. Broly does not have much of a chance, especially against a Master Ultra Instinct Goku. It would be a pretty awesome battle, like how Gogeta handled Broly, but other than that, Broly doesn't really have a chance, so RIP Broly. But Goku obviously would not kill him, and he would commend Broly on his amazing power. So, after everybody was healed, he would thank the Saiyans and go back to Earth. As Bulma had a little gathering set up, of course, Goku eating the most, Bulma asked him if they could use the Dragon Balls to make him young, so he isn't all old and slow and wrinkled. As Whis and Beerus was there, Beerus was of course enjoying the amazing Earth food, he would agree, saying that Whis can also just make you into your prime and your power would skyrocket and speed and more from this old shell you're in. Goku thinks about it, as Beerus did kind of demand him to. As Goku wasn't really into it, he says, but I like my old body. But then Beerus would yell at him comically, saying, you need to get done, I'm destroying, I'm telling you so. He says, okay. So, Goku would then make, Whis would then make Goku young, I would say 30 years old. But for a Saiyan, they stay at their prime until they're 80 plus. Anyways, but 30 years old sounds better anyway, as Goku felt a lot stronger, more fluid, fresh, and not so stiff anymore. As he thanked them, he was already getting used to the young body. Goku would be enjoying life, getting used to the young body, as Whis wonder what Goku's going to do now. He has lived lifetimes over for mortal ages, as Goku already knows what he wants to do. He wants to explore the other universes and fight the best fighters they have, as he knows there must be crazy strong guys there to fight. As Whis would sigh, he wasn't surprised, as he agreed to take Goku to Universe 6, where Goku meets the Saiyans from there, and they're a lot similar, they just don't have tails, and they're a lot more nicer there. And they're pretty strong too, but Goku would then meet Champa of Universe 6 on his home planet, and was amazed how much he looked like Beerus, just fat. As he asked if there were strong fighters in his universe, Champa wouldn't really take a liking to Goku just walking into his stuff, so he would actually challenge Goku to a fight. As he was actually excited, Goku would use Super Saiyan God, and they would clash. Now Champa was having the upper hand, and then Goku would use his full power, and then he would also use Master Ultra Instinct, and he would actually start to beat Champa. Now before he could beat Champa, Vados ends it saying that Champa is pretty much out of shape and needs to get back into shape to make it a real match. Champa wasn't truly hurt that bad, as Goku had more damage than Champa did. Now, remember, Goku is younger, he is in way more better shape. He is able to outdo him on stamina and endurance. And so remember, Champa is stronger actually than Goku by a little bit, but he's very much out of shape. So he runs out of breath by walking a short distance, so I think an MUI Goku would sooner or later be able to outlast him and take him down in a fight. As Champa says, there is a fighter who is very powerful, and it would be a good fight for him, as Goku was excited to fight this man known as Hint. Now, a lot of people are wondering, but this Goku's 300 years old. Oh, how's he doing this? Well, a lot of people do downplay the gods of destruction in terms of how powerful they really are. I mean, even current Goku right now in Master Ultra Instinct and Ultra Ego doesn't really shock Beerus, and I think that Beerus should probably beat them right now. Now, does that mean that, you know, that they can? Well, we haven't seen them fight yet. Everything else like that. But the issue is that I do think that Champa with his destructive energy is a little bit more powerful than Goku, But Goku has way better stamina, way better endurance. He has Ultra Instinct. Now remember, Goku is still getting used to his young body. Remember, for the past over 200 plus years, almost 300 years, he was used to his older Saiyan body. But then he just instantly swaps. So that's the reason why Goku's still trying to get used to it. So he's loose and he's accidentally over punching and stuff like that. He has to get used to his prime body again as he's used to the stiff old. And he even changed his fighting style to fit his old age. Now he's younger and stronger. So that is the reason why. Now, if this was Goku, he was used to his body and he used Master Ultra Instinct at full power, then I do think that he would be able to defeat Champa. The other reason why he did not defeat Champa is because Beerus was watching. As Goku does have respect for Beerus, he really does. And he doesn't want to make Beerus mad, you know, he doesn't want to beat up Champa, you know, because it is Beerus' brother pretty much. He doesn't want to do that in front of him. So he does hold back. He also wants to see how powerful Champa is. So remember, that's how Goku works. Goku slowly builds up. He doesn't go all out to the finish. So Goku going all out to the death, I do think that he would beat Champa anyways. So Goku is technically stronger than Champa. Is he stronger than Beerus? That's up in the air, because Beerus is pretty much a better version of Champa. That would be a very interesting fight to see right now. So, Goku was excited to go see this man known as Hit. As rain was pouring down, Hit just finished a contract. As there was a dead body on the floor, Goku would soon find him, waving his usual hand and goofy smile. He asked if he was Hit, which he would nod, saying, "What do you want?" And Goku said to fight him, of course, which Hit would soon agree, as Goku wouldn't really let up on him. Seeing that this Saiyan is special anyway, he's pretty powerful, and he wants to test out his abilities on him if he can. Now, they would clash. Hit would actually have the upper hand at first using his time skip, but I think Goku would soon learn, very similar to the original Universe 6 arc, as he was able to slowly learn it, and he would actually turn into Super Saiyan God, overpowering Hit in their fight. Now, the issue was, Goku sees Hit's power was growing, and he grows as he fights. It would surprise Goku, as Hit was using his deadly attacks as well. It would actually be almost lethal to Goku if it wasn't for his higher power, and Hit was actually really, really powerful. But then luckily, Goku would then activate Ultra Instinct. Not MUI, but just Ultra Instinct itself. This time, he would gut punch Hit and kick him away, saying he's amazing. He makes me want to go all out. As Hit tried all he could, but UI Goku was just too strong, as he would soon beat Hit, as Goku, with his blue shirt left on, being torn, he would actually help Hit up, and he would nod, commenting at the Saiyan, as Hit was pretty impressed, saying that next time they fight, Hit will be ready and he better be prepared. As Hit would then disappear, Goku was super happy to fight. As he chooses to go back to Earth now, he wants to visit again very soon, and see the Stala Saiyans as well. As for sure, as he soon arrived home, the gang was happy to see him, and they tells him of what he learned and who he fought. Happy, he just went, and that's just one universe out of 12. So they could have way more strong fighters like Hit, and it got Goku's blood boiling in excitement, as he cannot wait.
Part 7. Our story last ended with Goku defeating Champa and Hit from Universe 6, as he was super excited to fight the other fighters across the other universes, as he would be asking Whis who is the strongest fighter in all the 12 universes, as Whis has a few, but one stands out the most. He's immortal in Universe 7, his power surpasses that of the God of Destruction. Now that made Goku beyond excited, as Whis would take him there. Belmont and his angel know of his arrival, and he has heard of Son Goku, and he wants to prove his universe is #1, so he does have 3 fighters lined up for him to fight, from his weakest, strongest fighter to #1, which is the strongest, as he has Dispo, Topo, and Jiren. Goku would nod. He was very excited to face these strong fighters. As he would face Dispo, he would actually have a little bit of a hard time with his speed, but he would just turn Super Saiyan God, and he would be able to beat Dispo. Even after Dispo used his light speed mode, it would not be enough to defeat Goku, as Goku's way too powerful for Dispo. But Goku actually really enjoyed the fight. Dispo was extremely powerful, and he actually was the weakest out of the rest of the other 2, so he is really excited. Now, Goku would go with Whis, and he would go meet Topo. Now, Topo was with Belmod, as Topo nodded, saying Goku was praised as a hero in his universe, and Goku shrugs at that, and he says he just likes fighting strong guys and helping those who can't help themselves. As they would begin fighting, Goku would have a little trouble in Super Saiyan God, and he would go into his God Super Saiyan 4, and he would begin overpowering Topo pretty fast, who was shocked that a mortal possessed this much power under Jiren. Now, their battle would be very intense,
but Goku would have the upper hand the entire fight. As remember, Toppo is near the power level of Super Saiyan Blue, but from the original, but he's not going to be strong enough to defeat Goku, who's way more powerful than that. Now, Toppo would then showcase his God of Destruction form. Now, I do feel like since Goku knows about it, Whis would tell the other angel, his sister, Margarita, about the fact that Goku is coming soon. So I do feel like they would help Toppo in learning his God form faster. Remember, Toppo wasn't like fully training. He was starting to get into the role and he just grasped God Ki. Well, in this version, Toppo actually learned God Ki a little bit more, so he is actually stronger than the original. So he would actually give God Super Saiyan 4 Goku a little bit of a hard time, but Goku would just use his full power in the God form, and he would overpower Toppo's Kai power and defeat him. Now, he would shake Toppo's hand, as remember, Toppo does not have malice towards Goku, since, remember, Goku's not wishing for the Tournament of Power and all 12 universes are going to be erased. Goku's actually praised as a hero and respected by a lot of people in all the other universes who have heard about him, because Goku saved the universe multiple times, and they do respect that. Now, as Goku would make his leave, he would promise to fight Toppo again once Toppo becomes a full God of Destruction and he's at his full capabilities. Goku really wants to fight Toppo again one day. And Toppo nods, saying that he cannot wait to win next time. So, now's on to the main fight. Now, what's going to happen is Goku would meet Jiren, and Jiren would not really want to fight at first. He's not really interested in that, but I think if Belmont and the Angel would ask for him to please do it, I do feel like he would. He also has a respect for Goku, as him and Goku are pretty similar. They're both heroes of the universe, and they both strive to become the strongest. So Jiren does have a small respect, as he has heard about Goku's power in Tales. And he knows that Goku is pretty old for his age of a Saiyan. So Jiren would actually be kind of interested to see how powerful Goku is. So I do feel like Jiren would probably give into it, and now remember, Goku, even sensing Jiren, and when he's just chilling and calm, he's never felt a mountain of hidden power like that before, other than, you know, Whis, you know, because Jiren is the most powerful person that he's ever seen. He's stronger than the gods of destruction. Belmont for that matter. But now he can sense Jiren. And it's nothing like what he fought before with Toppo, Dispo, Hit, or Champa. Now, most of the fighting would happen like the original, when in the Tournament of Power, when Goku would be going back and forth, testing it out from his base form, Super Saiyan 1, Super Saiyan 2, he would go into Super Saiyan 4, and then he would go into Super Saiyan God, then he would also go into Super Saiyan God 4, and that's to where, using his full power, and him and Jiren would actually go back and forth a little bit. But Goku's never felt so much raw energy before. Not to mention, he did it all by himself, just solo training, and it's truly amazing. Now, Jiren has respect for Goku as he's seeing his power. Now, he sees him as a fighter of pure strength. Now, red ore surrounds his power, his body, and his power skyrockets as Jiren was showing his full power, not his limit-breaking form. And he would begin to overpower Goku fairly easily. Goku doesn't have much of a chance against this version of Jiren. Now, Jiren would overpower Goku. Goku would try everything he can, even try to use Kaioken. It would not be enough. But Goku's obviously not even close to being done yet. Goku would take a big breath and exhales. As he went into base form, he has to showcase his real power for the first time. He tells Jiren he has always held back for such a long time. Even against the likes of Champa, he held back because he wanted a challenge. And the only being he can go all out is Whis, as Goku wants to see Jiren's true power. Which Jiren smirks, saying he will showcase his limit-breaking power. As, now remember, in the original, Jiren needed a traumatizing moment to unleash his full power. Just for plot reasons and for what it purposes, I'm going to say that Jiren is stronger than the original a little bit, and he actually can go into this untapped potential that he has, and it's the red MUI looking form. So he can go into his limit-breaking power. Now, he yells, growing in size, as it was his hidden power form, as Goku was smirking, some sweat down his face, as he was truly amazed at the pure power Jiren has. Goku was so excited that Jiren is this strong that he can showcase his true power. Goku closed his eyes. As it opened, he was in Ultra Instinct. And then he walked forward and his hair turned white as he turned into Mastered Ultra Instinct with ease. Goku stated as he thought that this was my limit. He smirked and he stated, "I thought I reached my wall." but I learned from Whis to reach my true ocean of power that I needed to make this angel's ability my own, mold it to fit my fighting style, mind, and spirit perfectly to achieve something that I never thought was possible, as the hair, all the way from the strands of his hair, began to start growing red in color, and his eyes glow and swirl, similar to Gohan's beast form. As his power would be skyrocketing, his hair turns into a pure red, similar to Super Saiyan God, but in UI style, and his eyes would shatter and they would turn into a glowing golden color. Now, this version of Goku, we don't have a name for it, and I will get into the form later on. This is a new Ultra Instinct power that Goku has unlocked. If you all remember the manga, when Goku fought against Gas, Goku stated that he's going to use his own Ultra Instinct. And his eyes were yellowish in color, and he had Ultra Instinct hair. They called it like the Primal Instinct, or his Beast Ultra Instinct, or True Ultra Instinct if you want. So I wanted to add the similar thing, but make it a level way beyond that, to where the True Instinct is kind of like a UI version, but then the level above that is like the red hair version and the glowing golden eyes. This is Goku's own molded Ultra Instinct power that fits him, to where he can have any emotion that he wants, and that emotion will actually amplify his power in different ways, it's a very interesting form. So you can call this True Mastered Instinct, or you can call this Beast Instinct, whatever you want to call it, but I'm probably going to call it True Mastered Instinct. So that's what I'm going to call the form, is True Mastered Instinct, and he is extremely powerful. I'll get into his power level in a minute. Now, Jiren would obviously be shocked at this power, but he'd be happy at the same time. He commends Goku that he got this power as well. It's amazing. But now, his power level was shaking the universe of Goku's power. He's like a mini universe almost. As even Whis himself, he sweats a little bit with a proud smile. This version of Goku is near the level of an angel. He's not as strong as an angel. I will say that. He is not above angels. He is not as strong as an angel, but he is way closer. Remember, in the original manga, we stated that Goku's only using around 1% of Ultra Instinct's true power. In this form, I'm going to say that he's around the 50 mark. He's around 50% of the true Ultra Instinct power. Now, if y'all remember one of my older what-ifs, when Goku unlocked True Instinct, and it's where his hair was in Super Saiyan fashion, it's when Goku unlocked Ultra Instinct early. That's 100%. Goku in that version was able to unlock the True Instinct, is what I like to call it. Or pure instinct, and he was actually surpassed the angels. He could actually take an angel or two on. So this Goku is kind of like the halfway point, to where he lets his emotions control his power, and so that's why his hair is red, since he connects to his Saiyan roots. So that, and obviously the Saiyan roots is the blood boiling fighting spirit. So that's why Goku's hair is red, because I mean red looks strong, and the yellow eyes insignate like Broly's like a Kari form, which was the Uzaru state, which is eyes. So, and also because Super Saiyan 4 Goku had it too, and it's really cool. So that's the reason why I added this form, and it's a lot different than the other form. Now, it's not as strong as the original What If Goku Got UI early version. It's about half the strength of that. But he is able to stand up to an angel, but he's not able to defeat one in pure combat if like Whis goes full power. But he is way above Gods of Destruction. Way above that. Now back to the What If. Now, Jiren would try to be throwing some punches at Goku, but Goku easily dodges them, as he would gut punch Jiren with the force of his punches. As you know how he punched the air and the air hit Jiren, it would send him through pillars of rocks. As he stood there waiting, Jiren destroys it screaming as he pants a little bit. Jiren was angry as he commends he has gotten stronger, but nothing to him. as he charges in an attack and throws it, making tons of energy beams to Goku, as Goku would just walk towards him, only slapping some away, as within a blink, he appeared right in front of Jiren and threw a right hook, knocking Jiren away, as he threw a few attacks at Jiren. Now, Jiren tried throwing his own at Goku, but Goku was just way too fast dodging it. As Jiren was angry, he demanded he face him like a man to take his blow full force. Goku had a bit of a smirk, saying fine, and all he got, as Jiren charged his aura all into his fist, a full blown out attack. He charged in, hitting Goku's jaw as it blows his red aura across the universe, shaking all of it. As the smoke and aura cleared, there was fire, aura fire, the red from the original, all around the area, as Jiren was utterly shocked. Goku stood there with no damage to his face, as he only was smirking at Jiren. He was utterly shocked, as Goku stated, as he grabbed his wrist and moved his hand away. He stated, "I'll be honest, Jiren, that punch tickled a little." As Goku ends the fight by throwing an energy beam right at Jiren's face, blasting him away as he hit a pillar as it fell on top of him, as Jiren turns into his base form. Jiren would get up and he would accept his defeat. As Goku turns base form, he was so happy Jiren was able to push him to use his full power. Now, he was happy, but Goku knows that he has not reached his limit yet. As after saying goodbye, he would leave Universe 11, returning home. As the last fight did drain a lot of energy out of him, remember, that form still drains a lot of energy. He ate a buffet of food, and of course, he wants to do one more thing before he begins his true training. And he wants to go to the other world to meet his son and his wife who passed on years ago. Now, Goku would then go to the other world to meet his wife and his son Gohan, who passed away centuries ago. He was truly happy to see them again, as he didn't really get an option that much, but luckily Whis said, "I will take you there," and he does. He does a solid for Goku. Now Goku would cry a little bit seeing his wife, and he would tell him that he will reunite with them someday, but he must make sure the universe is all safe and things that he must take care of before. Now, before he takes his leave to the afterlife, he returns to Earth. Now, this version though, Goku, as this was a couple months later, Goku was in a new G, as it was similar to the GT version. He was more of a master now, being way older, teaching so many students who are way more powerful now, fighting gods, even going up against angels. He's kind of mellowed out now into more of a master thing, as fighting so many years, multiple Saiyan lives, he's now going to keep growing in power and fighting, but now he's going to teach people who can surpass even him. He wants the next generation, for when he is ready to pass on, to be even more powerful than he is, or be able to defend Earth and the entire universe from any threat that comes along their way. So Goku would actually be near a village in the forest, as a boy was there who was being chased by a bandit, and his anger exploded, blowing the entire area of the forest and shaking the planet. Now, Goku would smile, as he knows it's him sensing his power. He lands, asking who the child's name was, as he looked up at Goku, and he said that his name was Oob. And that is it for this wifey, guys. Thank you all for watching. Let's reach 10,000 subscribers, and I will talk to you all later.